Hey, welcome back. It's been like such a long time since I've made a video. On the last videos, I was getting pretty frustrated. I don't want to say frustrated because my Z drives really good, but I just wanted to see like 500, and 460, 458, whatever. We're just kind of stuck there until I redo the turbo kit. Which I will do. I just haven't got to because I've been busy with other work and stuff. But I got an opportunity to work on this car. It's on the dyno right now, actually. And it's just an interesting situation. This car is a Turbo DE 350Z. It's a 2004. And it's completely different than my car. So it's really interesting to see like a totally different build than mine that's also working really well. Mine, I can't say it's not working good. I drove it last week and the torque in the middle is insane, and the car goes sideways easy, and it's pretty fast at 460. I think it's just like you always want more, But anyway, I figured I could show this car. Eventually I'll get around to fixing mine, but I figured I could show this car in the meantime and just kind of see what you guys think. Let's go take a look under the hood really quick, and I'll kind of get you started to where we're at. So the customer called me a couple days ago and said he's been driving it for a little while, and all of a sudden it started to misfire like in the upper end. He doesn't know what's going on, so he wanted me to take a look at it. So like I said, it's a 2004 350Z DE. It's got a nice big intake manifold on it, which is cool. My car has a bigger intake manifold as well. It's got really big piping. I can't tell for sure, but I imagine the mass airflow sensor's been upgraded. And huge intercooler piping. He has an oil cooler. It was plumbed when it came in. As he got it off the trailer, one of the lines sprung a leak, so we sort of just looped the intercooler, or looped the oil cooler temporarily till he gets a new line. But he does have an oil cooler, and that's how it's been running. Oh, I should state, the car made 460, I think, he said, on another dyno, so, take that with a grain of salt on my dyno, but I imagine it's in the similar ballpark. We made a partial pull, and the fuel delivery wasn't good enough to make a complete pull, and it made over 400, like 410 or so on my dyno. So I'm sure this car does make, mid 400s on whatever dyno, I would imagine. Probably pretty close. So he's got a fuel return system. He's got some coolant mods. He's got a bigger radiator. He's got some crankcase ventilation. He's kind of got all the bases covered. So I have no idea who built this car, but I don't hate it. I mean, a lot of times I see stuff comes in here, it's a complete mess. This one seemed to have been functioning pretty good until it had just a little bit of a problem. The car, I believe, was a drift car mostly. It's got some pretty wide wheels on it. And the other thing is, you'll notice the turbo is not, up here in the engine bay all crowded like mine, which is kind of cool. It ends up being up under the car. So he has a oil scavenge pump and the turbo under the middle of the car, and it's pretty big. I want to say it's like 70 millimeter or so. So it's bigger than the turbo I have on my car a little bit. I think these are all good things, really, really good things. So he obviously, because his headers go directly back and he has a different design that doesn't have spatial restraints, this turbo kit looks like it's completely unobstructed, has huge piping, so he's not going to have back pressure issues. He's not having the heat issues that I have by having the turbo up here. I do believe the car is on E85, so that keeps the cylinders cool. And it's just interesting that he's making my power level pretty effortlessly, and it's been making that power level for a while on probably the weakest motor that Nissan ever put in these cars. We all know that the pistons and rods, from what I've seen, anytime you make a little bit too much torque down low, you'll break the piston off the rod, which sucks. So anyway, with that being said, I'm going to jump into diagnosing this car. The first thing that I kind of noticed, and this is kind of a problem if you're going to run E85, I'm not sure, it might be too dark over here to see this. I'll come out here in the light, but you see how the oil is starting to kind of mix with water. This is kind of what it'll look like in your valve cover if you have a blown head gasket. But this car runs way, way too good to have any kind of, head gasket issue. It's holding coolant fine. It's not overheating or anything. So this situation, and it's all down in the valve cover and stuff, is just from the E85 gas. So my assumption is maybe it's been running a little rich, or the rings are gapped a little bit big. I imagine the motor's stock, so probably just stock gap, but either way, the E85 is mixing with the oil and causing this to happen. This is pretty normal. It just shouldn't get to look like this unless you just have maybe not been changing the oil as frequently as possible. So I'll probably let the customer know. Go ahead and change, if you guys are running E85, the E85 it runs so cold that the rings don't seal against the cylinder wall as well. So more of the fuel passes into the oil galleys and stuff past the piston and will mix with your oil. So anytime I run a car with E85, I kind of disregard the 3,000 mile oil change, and I just change it really regularly. I don't believe I use super expensive oil. I'll use like VR1 Racing with little extra zinc in it or whatever, but I just change it regularly. I think new oil is better than fancy oil. So keep in mind, if y'all are running E85, change your oil like a lot. So I'm still working on this Turbo 350Z that came in the other day. The one that I said was pretty interesting. I wanted to show you guys how they did the turbo kit because it's way different than what we've done in the past. Let me see if I can get a good angle. You can see we're under by the transmission. It's got two 2-inch pipes coming to a T4 collector and a wastegate on each bank. And then the boost pipe kind of runs under and goes back up to the front of the car. Pretty simple and kind of awesome. And based on dynoing it, it feels like it's very unrestricted. Like this obviously has no back pressure issues and just runs really well. I've definitely got turbo kit envy now that I've seen all this. So the only bad thing with this type of kit is that you can't, get the oil from the turbo to run back upwards because of gravity. So you do have to use a scavenge pump to pump the oil back into the oil pan. But as long as you're willing to wire that up and put a pump in there, that's not too big of a deal. And this is pretty awesome. So I figured I'd show you guys that. I'm still trying to figure out what's wrong with it. I think possibly a boost leak or something. So we're still doing some testing. The other thing I noticed is that his mass airflow sensor is very maxed out. I did like a light pull and about 4,000 or 5,000 RPM, it hits 5 volts on the MAF air sensor. So he needs to get one of those NISDA MAF air sensor extenders or a bigger mass airflow sensor. So talk to him about that and we'll see if we can get this car all fixed up and making some big power on the dyno soon. Okay, so it's been a few days since I was looking over that 350Z with the turbo kit underneath it, and we ended up fixing his problems enough and sending it home. So it's not here anymore, but it did make me think so much about a different type of turbo kit for my 350Z. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are, but I feel pretty maxed out on the kit I currently have, obviously with the crossover pipe being a little bit too small and back pressure being so high that I can't really make the horsepower that I want. So has sparked some interest in possibly redoing my turbo kit to something that looks a little bit more like that, where I can have two nicely sized pipes coming into my turbo. I think I never did consider that type of a turbo kit very viable because I didn't want to run the oil scavenge pump and do the extra work to get the oil back to the pan, and then just worried about the oil not properly going through the turbo and just kind of being like a smoky turbo oily situation, because if you don't get the oil pressurized in the turbo and out quickly, you just have these issues and eventually can hurt the turbo. But I was able to do it on our remote mount turbo pretty well. That didn't really have any issues, and those were all the way at the back of the car, so I imagine in the middle of the car might be easier. And I do still have a scavenge pump upstairs I could use for the oil, so it may be something I consider doing, pretty soon, because currently, even though I love the turbo kit I'm on, it's a lot of fun to drive. I don't know, it's just, I just didn't quite hit the numbers that I wanted to, which it's really a silly reason to take it apart when it drives really good, actually. So anyway, something to consider. Comment below, let me know what you guys think, if I should just pop in more often and just show you what I'm doing. I do have a couple cool projects. Let me see if I can pop out a few videos and explain, I have done some crazy stuff in the last year that I just haven't even shown you guys. But yeah, the theme of this channel and the general idea was just to share the stuff I know about Honda and Nissan and get everybody kind of pumped and kind of share ideas. So that's something y'all are into, let me know below and I'll try to grind it out. I mean, basically because I work here all day long and, you know, I've got a family at home, so I kind of do that stuff in the evening with them. The only time I can even edit these videos is after everybody goes to sleep. So in order for me to continue the YouTube channel, I basically have to film during my work day and edit while my family's asleep, which I can do as long as I'm pretty efficient about it. And I also thought maybe I should put out just shorter videos, just kind of show you guys the cool stuff, not be so long-winded. Like this clip right here is me talking for way too long, but I do kind of miss talking to the camera. So anyway, I hope you guys appreciate it. Tell me what you think about the turbo kit on that Z, and hopefully I see you guys again like really soon, because I just totally miss making these videos. But anyway, you guys have a great day. Take it easy.